Are you guys ready to have your mind blown today? Because it's going to get blown away. So I finished reading like 2 days ago this book that it's been on my radar, but I just haven't purchased it and I haven't gotten to it yet until a couple days ago. So I was vaguely aware of the journey to another planet by American, I guess, military, American soldiers for a while now, but I just like put it in the back burner. Like I never really like thought about reading it or whatever, but something was drawing me to read this book, and I'm glad I did because it was actually very, very good. And take it or leave it like anything that I read, but I feel like this is very, very real, and it's obviously always important to use your discernment to navigate what's real and what's not real. But today I'm going to be talking about Secret Journey to Planet Serpo, a true story of interplanetary travel. Interplanetary travel by Kasten. I got this from Amazon. This is how the spine looks, and this is how the back looks. Got this from Amazon, and I'm literally just going to go straight into the notes like I do with all my videos. So I'm blocking the light. Okay, I feel like either way I do it, I'm gonna block the light. I need like a monitor to show me the words, so because I don't like being like looking down on my phone. Ugh, I wish I could like, sorry, I'm trying to see if I can put my phone somewhere here, but if I do, it's gonna fly away. I'm just gonna have the phone right here. Okay, so I don't know where it's better. I wish I had a teleprompter. So I can just read my notes from there. So we did have visitors from 9 other star systems. The Greys, which some people characterize as being like the Ebens, were not Ebens. They came from a planet near Alpha Centauri A. The third class of visitors came from a G2 star system in Leo. Another class of visitors came from a G2 star system in Epsilon Eridani. The visitors were classified by a code. The code, which was classified in itself, was extraterrestrial entities, or ETE. ETE2 were the Ebens, the Greys were ETE3, and so on. Oh, and then the extraterrestrial entities were just ETE. The Red Book lists 9 different visitors. We determined recently that some of the visitors were the same type of race, but a mechanical life form. They were hybrid beings that were created in a laboratory rather than by natural birth. The creatures were more like robots, although they were intelligent and could make decisions. They might be the hostile visitors that some people report. I'm actually going to start reading faster because there's actually so much content and I don't want this to be an hour long, so just slow the video down and try to keep up. Sorry, but it's just this video is going to take forever to upload. Roswell was not our first exposure to anti-gravity spacecraft or extraterrestrials. We had been aware of the ET presence on the planet since the 1930s. There is evidence that the Germans manufactured up to 25 working models of the, what is that word? I can't even say that word. Sorry. This was the distinctive bell-shaped craft powered by a rather simple electrogravitation motor called the Kohler converter, developed by Captain Hans Kohler, based on the Tesla coil. This motor converted the Earth's gravitational energy into electromagnetic power, but could also extract energy from the ambient vacuum in outer space. During the summer of 1952, he sent 6 messages, all of which were successfully transmitted. He was able to roughly translate the messages into English for the benefit of the Los Alamos scientists. Message number 1 notified his planet that he was still alive. Message number 2, oh, sorry. Did I tell you guys what okay, context. Sorry, context. So, in the middle of me interrupting that, the flying saucer crashed. There's either like 246 extraterrestrial biological entities in the craft. And then we kind of form an exchange program with them, and then they send out 6 messages. The Ebens send out 6 messages to their spacecraft that is closest to our orbit. And so this is what those messages are. Sorry. Message number 1 notified his planet that he was still alive. Message number 2 told about the crash and the fact that all of his crew were killed upon impact. The 3rd message requested that a rescue craft be sent to Earth to pick him up. At the prompting of the scientists, the 4th message suggested that a formal meeting be arranged with Earth officials, who would of course be American. And then we are told by Anonymous that message number 5 said that the United States government had requested an exchange program. Finally, the 6th message gave the landing coordinates of Earth for any future visitation. Why this was attempted is puzzling, since Eben 1 really couldn't interpret our chronology or numbering system, and we already knew that those coordinates were probably not going to be understood by the Ebens anyway. Sorry, I keep messing up. In 1955, after several back and forths with the Ebens, we finally established a dialogue with them. If this project wasn't so secret, the headlines would have taken over the world about our first successful contact with ETs. We can safely conclude that they were very much interested in our atomic bombs, as we later learned while on their planet that they had not developed atomic energy yet, although they did have the more powerful particle beam weaponry and had used it in prior wars. It seems likely that MJ-12 probably bowed to the wishes of the military and the CIA not to allow the DIA to get their hands on that program. They knew that if Kennedy had been given that information, he would almost certainly have complicated matters by trying to involve his intelligence organization and to take over a mature operation already well advanced over the last 9 years. Thus began the era of limited presidential access to top secret affairs. So this is where they started hiding stuff from the president, I guess. From the point of that first precedent, MJ-12 controlled all interaction with the aliens and gave the president only the information that, in their judgment, he had a need to know. President Eisenhower was the last president to be fully informed about our dealings with extraterrestrials, and there is a reason to believe that even he was not told everything. In view of this experience, the CIA and the NSA were perfectly willing to let Kennedy and the DIA take over the exchange program and to incur whatever risks existed. Physically going to their planet was the next logical step in developing a stable exopolitical relationship with the Ebens. They knew that Kennedy would never be able to take the credit for such a grand space triumph and to parade the success of the mission before the public, because he would be out of office by the time the astronauts returned, which was expected to be 1975. This, in fact, may explain why the astronauts were sent to Serpo on such an extraordinarily long mission. It appears that this may have been planned so that Kennedy would have been retired from the presidency before they returned, even if he served 2 terms. They really had him in a straitjacket. Kennedy's silence about the Serpo adventure was critical. If it had been revealed to the public, it might have opened the entire Pandora's box containing all the secrets of our dealings with the Ebens in the reverse engineering program. They knew how much he wanted a space-based accomplishment, so of course he would want the exchange program, but he had to keep quiet about it while it was in progress, because it could have ended in disaster. And that disaster would of course have become his legacy as an ex-president. So this is my own thoughts now. So basically what I forgot to mention was something happened with the CIA and Kennedy, President John F. Kennedy. And they ended up hating him because he fired the leader of the CIA at the time for something that I forgot about what it was. So it leads me to believe that allegedly the potential of someone in the CIA being the cause of his assassination, or anyone involved in the ET story because they knew he would release the information. So those are my thoughts as of now. I don't know what other channelers or other people say about the truth of Kennedy's assassination or who it was. Because even if we found the killer now, there's still, you know, a lot of hidden agendas and a lot of ways that could have been manipulated, if you know what I'm saying. So just because someone may be found for a crime doesn't necessarily mean that they are the ones that did the crime. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying? Especially with all of this wild stuff, you never know what the truth is. So my mouth's already tired of talking. I'm not even kidding. I was gonna read this about the Yellow Book. If you want to know about the Yellow Book, read page 110 in this book, or watch my video that I did like maybe 2 or 3 years ago about that book called the Yellow Book. This was apparently the first time we found out about what it was. It's basically a holographic device that has the history of the universe there. Okay, so the planet the team lands on isn't the Eben's native planet, but the refuge they had after their own planet got destroyed from volcanic eruption. After a few days on the planet, the humans are visited by a mantis being. After asking the Ebens what the mantis being is there for, they reply with that they're visiting the planet just like the humans are. Their planet is apparently named Corta, the mantis beings. The Ebens grew vegetables via hydroponics. They had similar veggies to potatoes, lettuce, and tomato. Those were the only vegetables they made that resembled the ones from Earth. The humans liked the Ebens' fruit. Their fruit tasted like melons and apples, and the Ebens ate a lot of it. Also, I have to say that a lot of this information was from the diary journal entries of the team commander, and probably other team members had diary entries as well, but only the team commanders is the one that we have information of from this book. Okay, so shit hits the fan when one of the humans dies from a pulmonary embolism before even landing on the planet, and the Ebens take it upon themselves to take all his blood, and they end up experimenting on him, and they clone him. The commander of the human team gets pissed and tells them that that was never authorized and that he belongs to the United States and not to the Ebens. The Eben doctor said that there was no way to see their dead human soldier because the doctor already had drained him of all the blood in his body, as well as extracted all the organs to be used on other beings, and it made the commander feel very unsettled. Later on, the Eben doctor ends up taking the humans to this cloning facility where the humans are showed all of the experimentation being done on all sorts of beings from other planets. Certain parts of other beings were used to grow these beings is what the Eben doctor told the humans. The commander mentions that 2 of the beings in stasis that he saw in that facility had humanoid bodies but dog heads. So it seems like they were the type of, I guess, hybrids that looked like Anubis, the god of death. I wonder now, this is a side note, I wonder now if this is how the Montauk Project came about, from the findings of these types of experimentations on planet Serpo. Because I think several years after this journey to planet Serpo, we ourselves started manipulating genes a lot and stuff like that. So I think maybe the Montauk Project was kind of influenced from the experimentations that were found on planet Serpo. The Ebens had no single ruler. There was a council of governors, which the team named. This group controlled every single action on the planet. The members of the council seem to have been around for a long time. There were leaders, but no real form of government. There was virtually no crime seen by the team. They had an army, which also acted as the police force, but no guns or weapons of any type were seen by our team. There were regular meetings within each small community. There was one large community which acted as the central point of the civilization. All the industry was at this one large community. There was no money. Although our team members honored the privacy of the Ebens, our team was allowed to witness births. Our team, snooping around, was able to capture the sexual activity of the Ebens. The males and females had similar sexual organs and performed intercourse. The frequency of sexual activity was not recorded as being as often as in our society. It was believed that they performed the act for pleasure and reproduction. The Ebens worshipped a supreme being. It appeared to be some sort of deity relating to the universe. Many hundreds of thousands of Ebens died in a great war. The Ebens fought a battle with an enemy for a period of time. Our team members estimated the war lasted about 100 years, but again, that is our time. The war was fought using particle beam weapons developed by both civilizations. The Ebens eventually were able to destroy the enemy planet, killing the remaining enemy forces, and the Ebens did warn us that several other alien races within our galaxy were hostile. The Ebens stay away from those races, and the debriefing document never stated the name of the enemy, probably because they no longer exist. Ebens developed a different type of electrical and propulsion system. It was unknown to our team, and I don't think we ever really understood it. They were able to tap into a vacuum and bring back an enormous amount of energy from that vacuum. Our team's living quarters, which consisted of several small buildings, contained electricity powered by a small box. This small box supplied all the power our team needed. Ironically, the electrical equipment our team brought on the trip worked using their power source only. The Ebens energy device was analyzed over and over again by our team. Since our team did not have access to scientific microscopes or other measuring equipment, we could not understand the function of the energy device. But regardless of the electrical demand, the Eben energy device provided the proper current and wattage. Our team surmised the device had some sort of regulator that sensed the required current wattage and then supplied that specific amount. Note, our team members brought back 2 energy devices for analysis. There was fresh water on the planet as well, but after drinking it the first time without analysis under the microscope, they found out there was unknown bacteria in it, so the crew ended up in the future boiling all the water before drinking it moving forward. The team ends up finding a 15-foot snake, and it's the first time they used their guns to kill something, and the eyes of the snake were human-like and bigger than a snake's head, and its head was bigger than a snake's head on Earth. And when they asked the Ebens if it was okay to eat the snake's meat, the Ebens said, no, it's not okay. The bodies of water on Serpo did not contain fish, but they did contain strange-looking creatures that resembled the eels that we have on Earth. As for birds, there were 2 types of flying creatures. One resembled a hawk and the other a large flying squirrel. Small bugs were found on the planet and ended up getting inside the team's suits, but never did they find flying insects. So the team ended up returning 13 years later, 3 extra years than originally intended, due to the fact that it was extremely hard to keep track of Earth time. 7 members returned, 3 died, 1 on the way to planet Serpo and 2 died on the planet. Those 2 dead bodies were sent back to Earth in coffins, and 2 other members stayed in planet Serpo because they loved the culture of the Ebens and last communicated with Earth on 1988. The information the returning team gave is stored in a 3,000-page document. The last survivor of the Serpo adventure died in Florida in 2002. All the team members lived short lives upon returning to Earth because of the harmful effects the radiation at Serpo had done to them. Let me see if 210 and 212 is even worth reading. Okay. This may be cool for you guys to learn. Okay. So the DIA 6 group identified 5 alien groups, which we have had experience with. The Ebens come from planet Serpo and Zeta Reticuli. The archcoloids, I don't know how to say it, come from planet Pontel near the Cygnus arm. The quadloids come from planet Otto and Zeta Reticuli. Those are the genetically engineered praying mantis, antlers-like creatures created by the Ebens. We have the heplaloids, come from planet Damco near the Cygnus arm, and we have the Trantiloids who come from planet Silus in Zeta Reticuli. I guess I can read this for you. So this is on page 210 and 211. Here's an email from another member of the DIA. There are common links. Hold on, let me actually put it up here. I don't know where to put it. There are 2 common links between each alien group and the Ebens. The first link is that the Ebens discovered each group, civilized them, and then cloned their species with others. It is an extremely complicated subject and is something I don't care to go into at this time. The second common link is the DNA. Each alien group has the same exact DNA. How that is possible, we don't know. Level 2 at the S2 facility is where J-Rod, which is one of the Greys, and the other alien lived. They have special containment facilities to house each alien. Victor, one thing that has never been disclosed, is the name given to the second alien, the one shot. They named him Alien CBE-1 for Cloned Biological Entity 1. This has never been officially disclosed to the public. You are a first here. The word archcoloid or arcoloid was coined by Area 51 scientists to classify each different alien race. We know of 5, all given to us by the Ebens. The archcoloid was a cloned biological entity created by the Ebens. It would take hundreds of hours and thousands of pages of written clarifications to explain it all, neither of which I'm prepared to do. The quadloids were also genetically created by the Ebens. The quadloids were cloned from 2 other species. So as you can see, it really gets very complicated, hence my reluctance to delve into deeply. So the quadloids, which are the praying mantis and the lizard-like creatures that were created by the Ebens, were apparently cloned from 2 other species. What are those species? I have no idea. It never mentions it. Okay. So this is kind of interesting. So many people in UFO circles have come to believe that Steven Spielberg has an inside basically on top secret military information, and that he doesn't just make this stuff up. There is some evidence that he has been chosen by the Pentagon because of his neo-realistic filmmaking skills. Why does the lighting change? And his popularity to participate in a plan for the slow release of classified information, the so-called public acclamation program. Belief in the likelihood of that connection is supported by his choices of subject matter. Several of his films can easily be related to possible government military agendas for the dissemination of secret information in a way calculated to win public sympathy. Spielberg might have learned from his DIA contact that it was President Kennedy who had issued the edict for Project Crystal Night, which is what the name of the Serpo project was called, and that he was assassinated only 5 months before the first landing. That much is known. But he might have also been informed that Kennedy, who detested government secrecy, had planned to make the story public and possibly have the landing televised. And Spielberg, who was 17 when Kennedy was killed and was probably crushed by the assassination, as we all were, might have then made up his mind that he would carry out, if only as a staged version, what our dead, beloved president had intended. That, of course, is speculation. Regardless, thanks to Steven Spielberg, we got to see it after all. An anonymous member of the DIA says, the Ebens use a universal grid system in traveling from one point of space to another. Their craft are able to travel near the speed of light. I think it's actually way beyond the speed of light, because how the freak did they get to that planet in like 10 months? Okay. This enables their craft to go into an altered space-time chamber that allows the point of departure and the point of destination to become closer in real time. It is similar to folding space by making the 2 points, departure and destination, become much closer. Remember, the Ebens have been working to perfect this type of space travel, overcoming the time barrier for well over 50,000 of our Earth years. By now, they have, in fact, perfected this mode of space travel. Although we have been given the basic blueprint for their craft, propulsion mechanism, and overall operating system, we still don't understand it. They utilize minerals that we simply don't have here on Earth. Element 115 maybe, per Robert Lazar. One particular mineral similar to uranium, but not as radioactive, provides the extra power for their propulsion system. They also utilize a form of, They also utilize a form of space displacement system, which basically causes a vacuum in front of the propulsion that allows nothing to interfere with the created thrust. At the present time, we cannot understand how they accomplish this. They use a vacuum chamber, which consists of a mini nuclear reactor that forces some type of matter into space that deletes the molecules and causes that very small portion of space to become a vacuum. They also utilize antimatter in such a way as to force their propulsion systems into streams or waves of energy in front of their craft that enables the craft to move and flow much more easily through space without any friction from the atmosphere. In Dan Sherman's book, Above Black, he revealed he was groomed and trained as a telepathic communicator with a race of ETs whom he received information from and about but never actually met. Sherman states that he learned that time as we humans know it does not have the same meaning for them. They still age as we do, but are not bound by the physics of time as we currently are. Their means of travel across vast distances is heavily dependent on the manipulation of time, but not as we perceive it. Sherman asked if they can travel through time, can they go backward or forward in time? He was told that it was not possible to witness a reality that occurred in some other time but the present. In order to go back in time, one must assume that there exists a reference point from which to measure backward or forward. This is an impossibility. Essentially, they weren't able to travel through time, but around time and from time. Sherman says he never really understood what this meant. Their mode of propulsion was somehow that they used time and electromagnetic energy. Also, they said that our sun was very unique and that someday we would understand how it really worked and how we could utilize the same methods that they themselves use, but on a smaller scale. The U.S. Department of Defense established the DIA on Sunday, October 1st, 1961, to coordinate the intelligence activities of the military services. The DIA serves as the intelligence agency for the Joint Chiefs of Staff, or ICF, or the what is that abbreviation? As well as for the Secretary of Defense and the U.S. Unified or Theater military commanders. As a senior military intelligence component of the U.S. intelligence community, the Defense Intelligence Agency is a combat support arm providing all source intelligence to the American Armed Forces, defense policy makers, and other members of the U.S. intelligence community. In addition to the publicized space probes such as Voyager, the U.S. has been sending other probes into deep space since 1965 that have been kept secret. We now learn from Anonymous that the main purpose of these probes is to set up a reliable communication system with Serpo. Clark McClelland, former NASA aerospace engineer, said in 1999 that some of these NSA probes are launched from the Kennedy Space Center during secret missions called classified missions. They loaded the payloads on the space shuttle at night under tight security, and a few technicians had the proper clearances to participate. An all-male crew of specially trained military astronauts flew those missions. So I advise you to read pages 265 to 270. Let me see what those had. How the alien craft was back engineered. So read that, and then I think I'm just going to end it off with reading 279. I wanted to read those 5 pages for you guys, but I'm honestly like so drained. I have no idea why. Okay. So, okay. This is... So when I was talking about Anonymous, that is apparently the person that like is regulating or like monitoring the Serpo website when it was up and running, because I don't think it's up and running anymore. I tried going onto it and it like crashes. That's what who we're talking about when I say Anonymous. Wow, I just like almost tripped. Okay, so this is page 279. apparently who says this? So this is apparently a document from the MJ12 staff from July 30th, 1999. That was posted to the Serpo website. Okay. This concerns exobiological life to be conveyed through the public acclamation program. This is just like bullet points that they have here. Intelligent life does exist on other planets and throughout the universe. Craft not of human design or manufacture are operating in and across the land, sea, and air of Earth. Intelligent beings other than Homo sapiens are conducting various missions on this planet. These beings have been coming here for tens of thousands of years. Alien beings may have human-like bodies or non-human bodies. Intelligent beings can be physical, non-physical, or interdimensional in nature. The variety of life in the universe is diverse, like the life on our own planet is diverse. Some alien beings have the ability through advanced technology or other means to move forward and backward at will through time and space. The spiritual evolution of an alien life form may be ahead of, equal to, or beyond its level of technological development. The social orientation, motives, and agendas of these beings is very diverse. Some alien intelligences are more friendly. In many cases, human abduction is a real event. Crossbreeding of humans with more than one alien species has occurred. Hybrid children and hybrid adults do exist. They have characteristics of both the human and alien races. Although most alien contacts and sightings occurring on modern-day Earth have been shrouded in secrecy and mystery, the veil is slowly being lifted by the activities of civilians and specially assigned government personnel. The public acclamation to the reality of alien life is proceeding in a way designed not to shock or disrupt society any more than necessary. And a great amount of UFO and alien information is now in the public domain. Countless books, videos, and internet websites are devoted to these subjects. Thousands of pages of U.S. government documents on unusual sightings and encounters have been made available. So there it is. That is Secret Journey to Planet Serpo. Read the pages that I recommended you guys read, like the back engineering of the alien craft. I know it would be incredible for me to mention it, but it's just, I don't want this video to be so long, and I don't want to deter you from reading the book, because you need to read this. Read it, and I'm reading his other book, Dark Fleet, which I'm probably going to make a review on, which is probably going to be longer than this video. So